Her Bold Blueprint.
Her Bold Blueprint. Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Her Bold Blueprint. This is a fantastic podcast that holds a space for meaningful conversations that tease out the stories behind the story. We offer you bold and untold stories of women leaders here in Central Florida. I'm Karen Keene. I'm the founder and chief strategic advisor for Athena Next Gen. We are a women's leadership program here in Central Florida, and we've been operating now for 11 years. We have over 500 alumni, and many of them we will be interviewing throughout the course of this podcast in coming months. And I am joined by my amazing co-hosts, and I'll let them introduce themselves to you.
Hello, I am Charissa Smith with Cogent Bank, but I'm also serving as the alumni director for Athena Next Gen. I'm here. I live here in Orlando, have been a Floridian for about 10 years. So I am so excited to be able to really focus in on the women that come out of our program and really highlight the incredible leaders that we have here in Central Florida.
I'm Kate Slentz, one of the co-hosts today, and associate editor and publisher of Orange Appeal and Interior Appeal magazines, and one of the co-founders of the Orlando Women's Conference. I'm also a proud alumni of Athena Next Gen, and I am the mom of two that I'm very proud of.
Hi, I'm Christi Ashby, one of your co-hosts, and I am the founder, editor, and publisher of Orange Appeal magazine, which is the only magazine focused solely on women. We also founded the Orlando Women's Conference 15 years ago, and we have been telling stories of women in our community since we began. And this is a different format for us. We've done live events. We've also done print publications and online versions. So this will be something new.
Before we bring on incredible guests and stories, we wanted to take a moment to share who we are, why this podcast exists, and what you can expect from us. So one of the things that I thought about as I was preparing for today is just why exactly did we choose the name Her Bold Blueprint? Well, as the four of us as co-hosts of this program, we're talking about what's really important. We wanted to share bold, untold stories about the amazing women leaders that we know are a part of Central Florida. And so when I think about a blueprint, I think about the many things that women can do to share some of their best practices and some of their stories to help other women continue to rise in this community. But I'd love to hear from my co-hosts what your thoughts are on our name.
I think, for me, the word that really resonates is bold. And I think for me, there's a couple different ways we can interpret that. I mean, there is the boldness of being courageous and confident in a male-dominated industry. And there's the boldness of being assertive and self-assured, with decisions and speaking up for yourself. But I feel like there's another way to be bold, and that's, being bold enough to be vulnerable. And I want to really talk to women about how maybe being their most authentic selves can really shape how you become a leader and how you connect with people. Because I think that's what women are really great at doing. We're great connectors and communicators. And I think that's why that name and that word specifically really resonated with me.
I like the bold because it implies that we're strong, we're assertive, and once we make up our mind, we just go for it. And for us, I'll be honest, we wanted to have the name Bold and Untold, but it was already taken. And we found that out when we started our magazine. The original name that we had was taken, so we had to pivot a little bit. But I think that's what's bringing us all together. We can pivot. The blueprint can be one thing one day, but it can change. And I think that's what's important. Most of the women I think we'll be interviewing have had something happen in their lives that caused them to pivot and change their blueprint.
Yeah. And I think that's, I think showing up authentically is definitely one of the reasons that we're all here, because we want those authentic connections. And a lot of these women leaders, they show up as their authentic selves. And I think they do have stories that the public doesn't necessarily see. And I think that's why another reason why we're here is to really share those stories.
That's a great point, Kate. And I think too, when we're going to be interviewing guests, we don't just want them to share our successes, their successes. What we really want them to do is also open up about the setbacks that help shape them, because we believe that real leadership is found not just in the triumphs, but in the courage to be vulnerable and to stumble and then to rise again with purpose. So some of the questions I was thinking about exploring with some of our guests coming up in the next few months is, what fears did you have to overcome leading boldly? What does that look like? Carissa, what does that look like for you?
I think just being present. I think that being bold enough to really speak your mind, I think especially, and this is something I've struggled with being a woman in a male-dominated industry, especially when I was younger, being able to really speak my mind and what I truly feel. I think that sometimes we can get placed into this box of I need to always be polite and being a people pleaser, but I think also being bold enough to really be yourself in that leadership role and to really connect with women. Those are things that are just so important to me.
Yeah, I think being bold is about being willing to take a risk. It's scary to take a risk. Men take risks all the time.
Yes.
And women are a little reticent about making a move. We talked about this a lot. They stay in a job longer than they should because it's a comfort zone.
Definitely.
So I think being a risk taker feels dangerous. It feels scary, but it makes you very bold. And once you take the first step or jump off the first cliff, we like to say, it is a little bit easier the next time.
Yeah. And I'm sure on this season of the podcast, we'll be talking to a lot of women who made bold moves throughout their career. One of the things that helped me kind of get over that fear was me being in the position I am, where mother-daughter, we run the company together. I don't really have moves to make. I don't get promotions. And one of the programs that really helped me find that confidence and get over my fear and to kind of lead more boldly was Athena Next Gen. When I went through the program and heard about all the different things about showing up authentically and acting courageously and stuff, it really gave me the confidence because I don't get traditional promotions or, different leadership roles within what I'm doing, but we're always innovating. We're always trying new things. And so that has given me the confidence to say, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can do this.
For the women who do it all and then do a little more. We're here for you. At Advent Health for Women, we created the region's only women's health navigation team to make healthcare simpler. Our registered nurses will match you with the right doctors, schedule your appointments, and more for you and your whole family. So you can keep making hard look easy.
It's so great that you bring up Athena too. And I didn't mention this in my intro, but I was part of the first class and I was going through some really not so great personal stuff, and having that whole sisterhood around me. And I keep going back to authenticity because I was that woman who had a smile plastered on her face 24/7. If you ask me how I'm doing, and I know there's a place and time to be like TMI and share too much stuff, but I do think that's important, and I finally was able to take that mask off and be authentic and be courageous enough to let people see who I am. And so that was a huge deal for me when I went through that in my early 30s.
Yeah, we were bold. I think some of the early days of the magazine, we started in 2008, which from an economic perspective was disastrous. Nobody would in their right mind would do it. But we just kept going. And then in 2010, we launched the Orlando Women's Conference, and literally we could not lose a dime.
Yeah.
And it was very scary to go into a hotel, see how much everything cost, pay for AV. Actually, the first year the AV was very nominal and there wasn't much of a stage either. But we just felt like it was something we wanted to do and we were going to build it and grow it. So, but it was scary, super scary, especially when the bills came. So
yeah, and I can relate to that too as a founder of Athena because for me, leading boldly really it's been a process of me learning how to ask for help and feel comfortable with asking for help. I was not brought up in a family where it was really all that okay to simply say, I need help. I can't do this on my own. We really had to wear a mask, to your point, because on the outside walls, we had to appear like everything was okay all the time. And so I grew up being very independent. And in a lot of ways that served me, but in a lot of ways it didn't. And I think when we started Athena, quite honestly, we went to a couple different people in the community. Both of them were men, and they did not feel that there was a place for a women's leadership program of this type. And I guess had we simply said, that's the way it goes, I mean, we're just going to have to come up with something different or give this up, then we wouldn't be where we are today. What we did was we did ask for help, and we started going out to women leaders in the community, many of whom had been in this community for 20, 30 years. And we said, we want to start something new. We don't really have any money to start this, but we hope that we can find some sponsors. And it was by asking those individuals to support us that we were able to get this program off the ground. But that wasn't easy for me. I had to learn how to do it, and I still learn. I still learn how to ask for help, but that's a risk, and that's being bold, in my opinion.
It's hard to ask. I know when starting the magazine, it was just a very expensive proposition. I cashed in my 401k. My kids were in college. And I had to go find investors. I mean, to go ask people to give you money for something that they've never seen, they just had to have confidence that I knew what I was doing, which I knew the publishing side, but I didn't know about running a business. So yeah, it's scary to ask for things, but that was the only way we could start.
And I love the fact that just the four of us in this room sharing so much already. And you think about the women that have enrolled in Athena and that have come to the women's conference and subscribed to the magazine. I mean, everybody has, I think we have so much more in common than we even realize. Yeah. And I think at times, a lot of us feel alone on this journey. And we think, oh my gosh, and no one's feeling the way I do.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this podcast, that's why we want to do that, because we don't have to be on that journey alone. You know, we don't have to rely on just, we can ask for the help, and we can hopefully tune in and we can see who is there that's just like us. And I think that's why, you know, focusing in Florida and Central Florida with our leaders and change makers and innovators right here, they're going to see themselves in our guests or in us because we have similar backgrounds. We know we come from this area. And we can show to everybody that change doesn't have to happen on a national stage. It can happen right here at home and impact, right?
Right. We wanted to bring the podcast out because we had two great organizations, and we had a lot in common, both supporting women and also telling stories about women in leadership, but also encouraging younger women to see their full potential. So I think from the magazine perspective, it's something that we've been interviewing women for 18 years. And I know you all have been face to face with younger women, a lot of times younger women leaders that need the support and need that somebody behind them. I'd say almost a cheerleader. And so I think coming together makes perfect sense because we're both here for women. We're both for their potential. We want them to be bold. We want them to be successful.
And I think that's a really great point, Christi. My thought is too that just in talking with the over 500 alumni that we have in the Athena Next Gen program, women want us to meet them where they're at, and they want to absorb content differently. We have often had great newsletters. We do tell stories on panels about where our alumni started and their successes, but we also know that we have women that want to take us with you, whether you're going to Starbucks or you're walking your dog or you're working out at the gym or you're cooking dinner. We have great stories that we can share with you while we are on the go with you. And I think that that's important as we look at expanding the opportunity to share all the great things that Orange Appeal, the Orlando Women's Conference, and Athena Next Gen do in coordination with women that are here in Central Florida.
Yeah, I think that's a great point because as an alumni of the Athena Next Gen program, I know that was the response for a lot of us. Now that we've built up this great alumni base, we're like, how do we continue that conversation of the great programming we get? I mean, I was in the second class, so it's been 10 years since I went through the program, but I don't want to lose what I learned or what I gained from that And so I think a podcast was just another way that us as alumni can connect with the organization, because I'll be honest, I'm a working mom. I have 2 kids. I can't always be at those 8 a.m. sessions in person. And so this was just another way for us to reach out to those alumni.
And I think even when we, from Athena's perspective, when we look at recruitment, as Kate said, we're years 1 and 2. And the way we were recruited is maybe different than where our younger, as Christi mentioned earlier, that yes, we are bringing, younger women into our, not always younger, but typically they tend to be younger. They're trying to build their network, and they digest information differently than maybe we do. And so we being able to use the word pivot, and be nimble enough so that we are constantly getting that new energy and new flow of women that want to be a part of our amazing organization.
I think that's great, because now we're giving women an opportunity to see something in print, online, in person, and then now they can listen.
Exactly.
When they want to listen.
Exactly.
So it's the perfect combination, I think.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact we will never, ever run out of great stories, because there are just so many great women that we celebrate here. So there are lots of opportunities to have all of you tune in with us in the coming months. And throughout the season, we will have some dynamic interviews. And it won't always be that all 4 of us are interviewing our guests. You may see 2 of us, and then on the next episode, another 2 of us. But please know that this is a collaboration among the 4 of us as co-hosts of this show, and we really want to bring you the very best that we can, and we invite you to provide feedback to us.
Well, we look forward to this upcoming season. We have a lot of super amazing women, powerful women, but also vulnerable women, and they're going to be open to sharing their stories, and hopefully that will be something that resonates with you, our audience. Am I right, ladies?
Absolutely.
We look forward to bringing you this season of
Her Bold Blueprint.